Cluster munitions are conventional weapons designed to disperse a number of smaller explosive devices over a wide area. There are two big issues with cluster munitions. First, by design, they spread submunitions over a large area, meaning they can, especially if used in built-up areas, injure and kill non-combatants who should be protected from harm even in wartime. Second, like any piece of equipment, there is a failure rate, meaning some cluster bombs will be left on the ground and could explode at any time, particularly if moved by civilians such as farmers working their field or children eager to explore the curious objects left lying around.
Mr. President, any update on the cocaine?
Mr. President, on cluster munitions, why now?
We've run out of ammunition.
There are reports of illegal cluster bombs and vacuum bombs being used by the Russians. If that's true, what is the next step of this administration, and is there a red line for how much violence will be tolerated against civilians in this manner that's illegal and potentially a war crime?
It would be. I don't have any confirmation of that. We have seen the reports. If that were true, it would potentially be a war crime. Obviously, there are a range of international fora that would assess that. So certainly we would look to that to be a part of that conversation.
It was a very difficult decision on my part. And by the way, I discussed this with our allies, discussed this with our friends up on the Hill. And we're in a situation where Ukraine continues to be brutally attacked across the board by munitions, by these cluster munitions that have dud rates that are very, very low, very high, that are a danger to civilians, number one. Number two, the Ukrainians are running out of ammunition. And so what I finally did, took the recommendation of the Defense Department to, not permanently, but to allow for, in this transition period where we get more 155 weapons, these shells for the Ukrainians, to provide them with something that has a very low dud rate. And it's not used in civilian areas. They're trying to get through those trenches and then stop those tanks from rolling. And so, but it was not an easy decision, and we're not signatories to that agreement, but it took me a while to be convinced to do it. But the main thing is they either have the weapons to stop the Russians now keep them from stopping the Ukrainian offensive through these areas, or they don't, and I think they needed them.
114 countries have signed a treaty to ban the use of cluster munitions. And although Ukraine is not one of those countries, firing cluster munitions into populated areas is still a violation of the laws of war and may amount to war crimes.
President Biden said that Ukraine's military is running out of ammunition, and that was a factor in his decision to greenlight providing cluster munitions. Do you think that morally justified his decision to do this?
I do. This was a very hard decision. The president really, he listened to all sides.
Did you speak to him about it?
I did not speak directly to him about this decision. I weighed in indirectly through folks in his core team, but bluntly, he looked at several different core factors. First, we are running out of 155 artillery munitions, and they are burning through them at a remarkable rate, 6,000 to 8,000 a day. That's 1 million a year. We have a plan to bring back online the manufacturing of 155 shells at scale, but that won't happen for months. They are at risk of losing this counteroffensive if they run out of their shells. We have a large stockpile of 155 shells that are cluster munitions. It's the Ukrainians who are asking to be able to use these on their own soil. They've committed to monitoring their use, to remediating them after the war. And frankly, they will be tactically helpful against dug-in Russian troops that are behind large minefields. So weighing all of those factors, the president made a tough call that I will support.
Well, the other way I think this is hurting Biden politically is it's giving a lot of traction and ammunition, so to speak, to RFK Jr. He says last year, the White House press secretary Jen Psaki called the use of cluster bombs a war crime. Now President Biden wants to send them to Ukraine. Stop this ceaseless escalation. It's time for peace. And then do the next one, and here's doing another tweet. He's just going to town, and he's absolutely right, RFK Jr. On the 8th, he said, Biden was opposed to cluster bombs in 1982 as well, when he opposed their sale to Israel. What happened to his conscience? That is a tough, tough think, and that's giving RFK some traction, I think.
Yeah, the conscience has been lost a long time ago when it comes to it.
And Senator Vance, I think, is one of the few Republicans I think have spoken out. Now, he's a mixed bag, we know. But when he's good, it's nice to have him on our team. If you put the next one up, here's some Republican criticism, finally, of this endless escalation. Senator Vance tweeted, "It's hard to believe the posture of the administration is, quote, we ran out of conventional artillery, so we're sending them cluster bombs," end quote. Looking forward to the August press release from Sleepy Joe. We gave him all the cluster munitions, so now we have to give him the H-bomb. And he's doing it kind of in a funny way, but it is a point that they have no reverse gear. The neocons have no reverse gear. We've seen escalation after escalation. Why are you desperately bringing out these weapons? Well, you don't have the ones we want. We've already given them. They obviously aren't doing anything, so we got to give them more.
Що повинно робити НАТО? Унеможливлювати застосування Росією ядерної зброї. Але, що важливо, я ще раз звертаюсь до міжнародної спільноти. Як це було до 24-го? Превентивні удари, щоб вони знали, що з ними буде, якщо вони застосують, а не навпаки, чекати ядерних ударів Росію, щоб потім сказати, ах ти так, ну ось тримай від нас. Переглянути застосування свого тиску. Ось я вважаю, що повинна робити НАТО. Переглянути порядок застосування.
Sir, I have a plan. Monsieur!